Hi everyone, I'm Brian. This is Above Board. Welcome to today's show. Today we're going to be taking a look at Fallout, the board game by Bethesda Software and published by Fantasy Flight Games. Now, when I first heard about this game, I was really excited as I'm a huge fan of the Fallout series and have been following it for the last 20 odd years since it was released. And you might be thinking, well, the board game was released months ago. Why are you only reviewing it now? Well, yeah. So here it is all set up and ready to play. I've got this set up as a one-player game at the moment. That's generally how I test out a lot of my games. I can't always get people together to test them as a group. But I've played through this a number of times, and, well, I've got a few different impressions. I couldn't really decide whether it was something I really enjoyed or not. So what worked for me is I love the artwork and the theme. The way that they've organized the components. You've got these player boards here, which are sort of amalgamations of the Pip-Boy, which is a huge part of the Fallout franchise. I really like the way it's set up. It's very simple, but very well detailed, and it has all the information you need to play. You've got your radiation tracker here, your hit point tracker here, and your experience point tracker here, as well as the different skills you've unlocked and different statuses of your character. I've chosen to play the Brotherhood Outcast, because why would you not? And the miniature is pretty well detailed, I have to say. One thing I do also like about the game is the detailed miniatures. It's really nice to have some Fallout-based miniatures available out in the world now. And the tile system, the way you can flip the tiles over as you explore, really gives you that sense of gradually expanding out and exploring a wider world. Something I really enjoyed about this game is it kind of took Fallout, for me, back to its old school roots, that kind of tile, turn by turn based, hexagonal based movement and exploration. That's even reflected in these hexagonal tiles that you explore gradually. Now, as I was sitting down thinking about how this game was designed and what its intent was, it kind of occurred to me that, in a way, you could almost imagine this entire board game taking place through the perspective of the Pip-Boy. You know, you're opening your map, exploring, you have your list of quests, you have your stats, your inventory, your cash, and it just seemed to really fit that, okay, if I see it through that perspective, it kind of works. It's pretty cool. But then I kind of compare it to what I would have expected from a Fallout game, and well, kind of left me wanting a bit more. See, everything you see here is everything you get in the box, apart from a couple of extra tiles and some quest cards. It just seems a little light on the ground. And for a franchise as rich and detailed as Fallout, I just felt that they kind of missed a trick here. Now, I really appreciate the direction they were going. Maybe, Fantasy Flight is well known for putting out very component-heavy, well-detailed games. Maybe they were looking for something a little more accessible and simple here. And in that regard, it's successful. They did it. For me, as a Fallout fan, and I think a lot of other board gamers and Fallout fans may feel the same, just felt a little bit light. It sort of, to me, even the size of the box, the components that are included and everything, it kind of suggests a core set to me, like there's more to come. And I really hope that's true. I really hope they go further with the game. For me, though, it just left things a little bit lacking. The other problem I have is the way they've chosen to do the random quests. These stacks of cards here is actually one deck. Better be careful with my pronunciation of that word on this video. I am a Kiwi. These decks, with an E, are the way that you would choose the quest. So you pick a card, all right? Well, the cards are selected for you, but I'm just picking one at random here as an example. That says, someone has uncovered markings left by some organization. Following them leads you to a large and well-hidden cache. Great. Game on. Let's do it. And then you get three choices. This white bar here is the part that you can choose from, but you're not allowed to read the blue part until you've made the choice. Now, I don't know about some of you, but I read pretty quick, so my eye tends to naturally glance down to the quest, and I see a resolution, and this iconography down here really kind of jumps out at you. And at first, it doesn't mean much to you because you're not familiar enough with what they all mean. But after a few rounds, you start to pretty quickly realise that, oh, there's a lot of rewards for this one, not so much going on down here. I see the word trash, but I'll do that. So after a while, I find I'm kind of steering myself towards a particular choice based on what's jumping out at me from the text below. I don't really have an answer for how else they could have done this, except perhaps some sort of book in the same sort of style as the Pick a Path books, or Choose Your Own Adventure, depending on what you grew up with. If you'd had a chapter dedicated simply to the quests, and then it says turn to page such and such for the resolution, it would at least eliminate that accidental reading. So too, it would also eliminate the need for this rather unwieldy deck of cards. The other thing I have sort of a problem with is the game is a little bit on the cheap side. Now you have these absolutely amazing miniatures, which are really nicely detailed. But you only get 5 in the box, and they're one for each of the 5 playable player characters. One of the great things about Fallout was all the many varied creatures, androids, super mutants, and things that you encounter in the wastelands, including other NPCs. And it was an opportunity for them to make some really beautifully detailed miniatures for this game. Now, obviously, that would have added to the cost, would have increased the size of the box and whatnot, but I think it would have looked really great on the board. Instead, what we get are these little creature tiles. So this one, for example, I think this represents wildlife. It's a little insect. So this one in particular is a rad scorpion, a very well-known creature in the Fallout mythos. Now, these are all cosmetic things that I've been talking about. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, because I did say I appreciated the artwork, and I really do. You've got Fallout Boy representing here. You've got popular classes of characters that you're likely to know. So there's some really nice touches here, and it instantly recognizable as Fallout. Even the color scheme, the kind of muddy greens and browns that are well known, really pop out. Now, the other thing I have sort of a problem with is the simplicity of the combat. Now, all the combat comes down to these 3 dice. In fact, not just combat, but all the skills as well. All the skills you use in the game require a skill check. And in this case, you might require 3 successes. Now, how do you determine success? Well, on the dice, there are 2 different main functions. There's the typical VATS-looking system where you have targeted areas of the body that you're going for, and that comes into play in combat. The other part are these little pips in the corner that look like vault doors. Now, when you're testing a skill, the more of those you get, the higher the likelihood is that you succeed. In this case, I only got 1, so I'm likely to succeed, unless it's a really easy skill. That's fine. You don't want to be overcomplicated. You're just checking a skill after all. You want something pretty quick and easy. The other thing is, in combat, that's where things start to get a little bit disappointing. Combat in the Fallout games is so much fun. Now, I alluded before to the VATS system, which is very well known. It's a targeting system whereby you can target specific areas of a creature in order to get specific effects. Maybe you want to disarm them, so you might go for the arms. Maybe you want to slow them down, so you shoot the legs, or maybe you try to go for that instant kill. Now, the way that this is reflected is, again, you roll the dice. Now, let's say we're going for our friend the Rad Scorpion here. Only a hit to the arms or the legs will register. And he has 1 hit point. Alright, so here we go. We roll the dice, and fantastic. Yeah, I got a hit to the arms and legs. So I've killed him. But look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 pips. Now those 4 pips indicate how many times the Rad Scorpion hit me. I got hit 4 times. I killed it, but I got hurt. Now, because I have the power armor, it's got an armor value of 2. So I can deduct 2 of those pips, but it still leaves me with 2 points. And that's for a Brotherhood of Steel member. I mean, he's basically got some of the best armor in the game. And that's another thing I have. I went through an entire game once with my tire iron. I found other weapons, including a plasma weapon. This gives me a free reroll every single time in combat. That's fantastic. There's no downside to this card. And you start with it. Did I mention it's a tire iron? So there's a lot to enjoy about this game, but there are a few things that really are disappointing about it. And I just felt that it didn't really go quite deep enough as a Fallout game for me. Now, you can look behind me on the shelves here and you can say, well, yeah, he's clearly into his miniatures, heavy dungeon crawlers. Yeah, I am. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe this game just isn't a very good fit for me and my style of play. I do like my miniatures. I do like having a world set out before me to explore. This game does that very well. Turning the tiles, it just seems to me there's also not very many of these. This is basically all of them. There's a few left in the box. I think about 3 other tiles in the box. And you mix and match and move them around, but very quickly you're going to have seen everything and done everything in the game. So it does beg the question to me, are they going to be releasing expansion packs for this game? And if so, are we going to start seeing more characters, more monsters? Will there be a miniatures pack for the monsters perhaps? Will there be more tiles or different regions to explore, new quests? Will that mean more cards to sleeve? I don't know. So there's a lot of questions about this game, like what is the future of this Fallout game? Or is this just a one and done? This is Fallout, play the game, take it or leave it. If that's the case, I don't think this game's going to be very long for my collection, which is really disappointing for me to say because, as I said, I am a huge fan of Fallout. I love the franchise. I guess part of my disappointment was going into this, I really, really wanted to love this game. As soon as I heard that it was being released, I thought, yep, done, I'm getting that. And I did. And I guess that's part of the hesitation that I've had over reviewing this game, is I didn't want to give it a negative review. I was trying to find ways I could be positive about it, trying to find things I liked about it, but I just didn't work for me. That's my opinion, just my opinion. Doesn't quite gel for me, but I know people who really love this game, and that is fantastic. I'm really glad they're enjoying it. And there is a lot to enjoy here. I think with the right people in the right group, this could be a really fun evening of gaming. There is a ton of quests here. So you've got endless replayability, at least, well, not endless, but certainly a ton of replayability. So there are a lot of things I do like about the game, but it's just not enough for me at the end of the day. So I think I'm going to be giving this one a pass. And maybe, who knows, if they start to release some expansion packs or start to flesh out the game a bit more, I may revisit it in the future. But for now, in its current state, it just seems like a false start to me. But anyway, that's about it from me. We're going to cut back now to my outro, which I completely didn't film before I had a haircut. So just ignore that, will you? Okay. Catch you later. So that's been my overview of Fallout, the board game by Bethesda Software and Fantasy Flight Games. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy the content on this channel, I please encourage you to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any feedback of content you'd like to see in the future, or just ways of improving the channel, I'd really like to hear your input. So please leave a comment below. In the meantime, thanks for watching and happy gaming.